This is two good football teams. This is Dino's got them going, man. I mean, he's got an offense that can score. He's got a scheme that creates challenges. They do a great job in the run game. Schematically, they give you a lot of different looks, whether it be a fullback in there. Next thing you know, they're whamming you and dividing you in half off the stretch, or they're four wides, and they're playing with tempo. They do a little bit of everything, but it starts with this quarterback. I mean, he's a kid from down here. He's a great kid, a great young man. I mean, a really tough competitor. I got a lot of respect for him. He is as tough as they come. I mean, this kid loves to run the football, and I mean, he punishes people when he runs the ball. He doesn't look to get down. I mean, he's looking to run over you, and he's incredibly fast. He's 6'4", 230-something pounds, and, I mean, he can flat out run. He's just more and more confident. You can tell their team has just gotten better and better as the season has gone. You see their confidence growing, their togetherness growing. They got a lot of belief, like our team, and I think that's, again, makes it a great matchup. They're physical up front. They got every starter back in the offensive line, every guy. They're all back. So it's a group that knows what they're doing. Scoring 36 points a game, 432 yards per game. Again, they're explosive, and they're really, really dangerous if they can get the run game going. This number 34 is a true All-American. I mean, he's the best we've seen. You're not going to see many guys in college football better than number 34. He's a great player. He's the leading rusher. He's the second leading receiver. So they don't make it complicated. You're going to have to stop 34 because they're going to get him the ball, and that's good coaching. So he is a great, great player. And then, again, the biggest thing with Schrader is, he's almost 70% completion this year. And last year he was like 50. So he's much improved, with his completion percentage, and he's even better. I thought he was outstanding running the ball last year. He's even better now. He's a bruiser, that throws it. I mean, he can flat out beat you multiple ways. A true dual threat quarterback. So we got our hands full with those guys, and then they've got always have a good group of receivers. They had a huge, like 60-something yard touchdown on us last year, split us on cover 3 right down the seam, and bounce off a tackle, and so they've got playmakers. 19 has really become and emerged as their go-to guy. Gadsden, he is a big-bodied kind of slash tight end receiver type of a guy. I mean, he's a really good player, and the same thing with him from the start of the season to where he is now. He's just emerged as their guy, and you see it in the play calls, you see it in their scheme. They scheme him up different ways. I mean, they're throwing him touchdowns from the backfield at running back, wheel routes to slot to the field. I mean, they got him everywhere, and they do a good job of creating opportunities for him. A lot of back shoulder balls, a lot of competitive plays. They beat Purdue on the last play of the game, 20-something seconds, one-on-one, in the end zone. So their guy was better than Purdue's guy. And so he's a real problem, but it's not just him. I mean, they got a nice group of receivers, but I think the key to them is the guys up front. I think this offensive line is playing really, really good football, playing together. You can tell they like it and got the mentality. So it's a good football team there. And again, we'll have our hands full. And then on the other side, man, it's they're all over the place. It's the best way I can describe them. They're pressure blitz about 50% of the time. So, 2 out of every 4 plays, they're bringing it, and that's on average. So this is a group that's going to challenge you from a communication standpoint, a discipline standpoint. I think they got 2 great corners, no doubt NFL guys, All-American guys. They're very active at safety. They're a 3-man front with the star player, kind of roam in the middle there. Outstanding linebackers. They had one that got hurt earlier in the year, but and then up front, man, they're everywhere. They're very disruptive, with their movement. So you got to do a great job again, just communicating and being on the same page and executing with some precision. So it's a little bit about them. Same thing, kicking game. I think they're 6th in the country in kick return average. So they've got some weapons in the kick return game, a very balanced football team. And when you've played this many games, that's what you would expect with an undefeated team. There's only 9 undefeateds left in the Power 5. So you don't get lucky and be undefeated at this point. You got to be doing some good stuff, and they got a good football team and be a great matchup in the Valley.
Have you noticed a tendency of teams to load the box against them because of their running game, and what are the perils of doing that?
Yeah, well, the perils are that quarterback, if we missed him. I mean, we had 6 TFLs that we missed last year, 3 sacks that we missed, that we had him. I mean, we got him, but we couldn't tackle him. We couldn't get him on the ground. I mean, he's a problem. He is a big, strong man. And so you can load the box and play a lot of tight coverage, but if 34 breaks through there, it's a huge play. And the same thing with the quarterback. He is an aggressive runner. He sees coverage well. So you just you gotta mix it up. He's you got to be very sound with your gaps. You've got to contain and leverage the football. We did a poor job of that last year. They ran around us twice. Once for a huge play where we don't set the edge. You have to set the edge on these guys, regardless of where it's coming from, whether it's coming from the perimeter or the second level or it's your D lineman. There has to be an in-run force. If you don't, they're outside of you. You got problems. And then when they get you running, next thing you know, they cut back on you too, and especially as poor as we were last week on the cutback stuff. How we played it technically. We got to clean that up this week because they've got a lot of the same principles, and then how they'll use that fullback sometime to kind of search out or wham you, trap you. So it's you got to mix it up with them is the best thing I'd say.
When you saw that Anai and their quarterbacks coach were headed from Virginia, that Dino had gotten them, what was your reaction based on sort of your knowledge of having gone against those guys and their creativity when they were in Virginia?
Does a great job. I mean, they really do. I mean, again, they do as good a job as anybody using their personnel and creating opportunity. And then they are in attack mode. That's just their mentality. They're going to attack you formationally. They're going to attack you down the field. You better be ready to make competitive plays and play clean technique because it's going downfield. That's just kind of the nature of who they are, and then they're going to run this quarterback. They're going to run this quarterback, and they're going to use 34 in every different way possible. So they do a really, really good job of attacking, who you are trying to, and creating opportunities for their playmakers. But it's a They do. I mean, he's excellent. I thought he did a great job at Virginia, and they were one of the best in the country. So he's really done a nice job of I think, bringing something else to the Dino's always done a great job up there, but you can see the improvement in 6. He was a tough player last year. We were fortunate to win the game last year. Came down to a kick. We had a lot of drop balls on these guys last year. We gave up a couple big plays. We played pretty good in the red zone against them, but we'd had a turnover. We had a big interception, which was good. But he's a much improved player from where he was last year in every area of his game. Very confident and a great leader for him.
You've had a pretty good sample size now of games for your team. DJ, I think, is up like 10 points passing percentage-wise. Is there one or two specific things, better touch, that you can attribute to his just being more accurate this year?
Just confidence. I mean, just confidence. It's just that simple. I mean, he's more confident in himself, and he's more confident in the people around him. And, when you're confident, it usually leads to better production. When you don't have a lot of confidence, bad stuff usually happens. So it's really just a product of all the work that he's put in, and he's just mentally in a completely different place than where he was last year. But and because of that, again, his confidence is really high. And again, his confidence in the people around him. He's had a lot of continuity up front. He had none of that last year. Even in this game last year, we found out at breakfast that we were going to have to start Trotter at center, who hadn't snapped a ball all year. And he had a broken hand. And, we actually were moving it pretty good, and we're opening this third quarter, and we snap it like 20 yards down the field. So that was a killed drive there. But we just had more continuity around him, and he's worked his butt off, man. He's a really good football player. He's who I saw as a freshman. That's who we saw as a freshman here. That's the guy. And last year was it's a tough year, but it made him better. If you're made of the right stuff, it makes you better, and he's definitely made of that.
Any type of off-season, though, if you were a pitcher, you'd say, well, he went to the bullpen and they worked him some stuff. Were there any mechanical adjustments whatsoever from
Just
last
back to
year?
the basics. Just back to the basics. He said he wanted to lose some weight. He wanted to be a better runner. He wanted to become a better leader. He wanted to, just do everything that he could to kind of reset himself. And, man, he accepted the challenge. He accepted the challenge of all the criticism and all the negativity and all the prognostications and all the drama and all that stuff, and he just put all that stuff aside and he just went to work. And he's in a really good place. There's not many guys playing better football than that guy right now. I mean, he's a pro. He's playing like a pro. He prepares like a pro. He's making big plays. He's making it, and it's so funny. It's like some people expect him to be perfect. Ain't nobody perfect out there. Show me a guy out there that's perfect. There ain't one. This guy gets dissected to the nth degree every single week, and man, he just keeps leading. He's become very, very inside out, and that's going to serve him well as he keeps moving. In his career. But just really proud of him. Unbelievable, focus, and he's reaping the benefits of it.
TJ said yesterday he doesn't slide. He's terrible at it.
Yeah.
He always slid head first in baseball. He said, I don't slide. And he feels like it's a free shot on the quarterback. You feel like, because we see it, across college football every week, that sometimes guys.
Yeah, occasionally.
Slide,
yeah. And they try, the refs, I think, try to protect him from that, but occasionally. But I think it's a mentality, too. This kid we're playing ain't going to slide this week. I guarantee you that. And he ain't going to avoid you either. He's going to run over you. I mean, that's Schrader's mentality. So this is two really good quarterbacks that are really the heart of their team. Going against each other in a undefeated matchup. That's a good one.
Why do you think Florida State was attacking the boundaries so much? And what do you think y'all have to get sort of cleaned up to sort of rectify that?
Well, first of all, we have to leverage the ball. We got to tackle better. I mean, there's no question about it. We've had 24 missed tackles. Again, if you have 15 missed tackles, you win by 2 touchdowns. So we got to trigger a little bit better in the secondary and some things. But really it. I mean, they did a good job on the stretch play, and then just cutting back. That was the biggest thing. And we made the adjustment, and we got settled in on that, and did a really good job in the second and third quarter. And then we just had a couple lapses there in the fourth quarter, which was disappointing. But really just got to play our technique and our fundamentals and execute the call better. Play the call. Sometimes you got really talented guys and they try to do too much. Play the call. Play the call and let the defense work. So that's the biggest thing.
Where would you say Brian Brzee is just physically coming back from the issue 2 weeks prior, and also
Yeah.
just mentally?
Yeah, he's 100% cleared, and I mean it was good for him last week. I mean he's obviously, working his way back into full shape. I mean he's missed a lot, right? I mean he missed what game was it? La Tech. He missed the La Tech game, missed all that practice, and then it was a crazy week. The week of the Wake Forest game, that was not a normal week, and he came back and was able to kind of play in that, and then all of a sudden we literally the next week he's out, so he's out for 2 more games, and he can't do anything because they had to kind of figure out what it was, and now but now he's good. I mean he's all that's behind him. So now it's just, getting back in the rhythm and flow of things and having normal practice weeks and just getting back playing some ball. So, yeah, he's kind of playing himself, back into full shape. It won't take him long. Yeah, but
you mentioned the difference in Schrader's completion rate this year, just based on what you've seen. What's made him so much more accurate in the passing game?
Yeah, well, first of all, those guys up front doing a great job for him. I mean, they really are. Those guys are really well connected, and they'll get into some max protection stuff too. But they've done a nice job with their perimeter game, screen game. They're going to get the ball to this back a lot, and then I think the emergence of 19. I mean, he's made a lot of plays for them, but I'm sure he's just worked his butt off in the off season. Knowing that, okay, he needed to become a little more accurate, a little more consistency in his accuracy. And, I think it's just a product of the work that he's put in. And he seems to have good chemistry with these guys that he's throwing to. And he's especially number 19. But he's become more accurate with the deep ball, whether it's the inside fades or the outside throws. He's become much more confident with the back shoulder balls. I mean, you see that a lot on tape. Whether it's wheel routes or just, individual go routes where he's just converting them to back shoulder balls. But I think it's just maturity, experience, confidence, and I think, the coaches have done a great job with him.
The ACC can regularly be knocked by the college football fans. They don't seem to get the votes usually. You've got 4 teams ranked right now. You've got 2 teams undefeated. Is this the ACC you've been sitting here saying we play against all the time, or is this the best that you've seen the ACC in a while? I
mean, listen, I think anybody can beat anybody in this league. That's just what I believe. I think you better show up and be ready to play, and there's all kind of rhetoric out there all the time. Man, I'm just trying to beat Syracuse, honestly. So there'll be conversation about that for life, regardless, and it goes in cycles. 1 year it's this, 1 year it's that, but I mean, I'm just focused on Clemson, honestly, and making sure our team's ready to play this week, and I think our track record speaks for itself as far as who we've played in conference, out of conference for years now. So that's all I'm focused on.